The Florida State Seminoles, yet again, get a gritty win, this time in a rivalry game at the crib over Miami. Final score, Florida State 27, Miami 20. And this is becoming more and more of a thing now where you look at this box score for Florida State, and you look at the way the game went, and you watch the game back, and you're like, another gritty win where Florida State just sort of pushes the envelope and finds a way to get it done. And I think at this point in the season, if you're a Florida State fan, you say, good. That's who we are. That's our football team. We'll take it. So we'll unpack this game right now and give you our thoughts on it, because I think context is a key part of this whole operation for breaking down this game for Florida State and Miami. First things first, though, make sure you're subscribed. Hey, Seminole Faithful, we've had a lot of y'all join the party recently. Had a lot of y'all be subscribed to this, and we're so glad to have you here. We are pushing towards 200K subs, just like your Noles are pushing towards an ACC title, college football playoff berth. Want y'all dialed in. Also very important, follow me on the social channels at JD Pickell, Twitter and Instagram. Thank you so much in advance for that. So, there were times where you looked at this game, you say, man, that wasn't the prettiest win. But again, I think context in a spot like this is key. First and foremost, rivalry game. What do we do whenever we have a rivalry spot? Well, we go ahead and find the file on the hard drive that says logic. Go ahead and drag and drop that to the trash bin. Don't use it in a game like this. Doesn't matter what the rosters are. Doesn't matter what the line was. In a rivalry spot, logic is no help. I don't know why. College football is magical like that. It is what it is. Rivalry games can't include logic. So there's that. Second part of this, Miami backed into a corner now. Tyler Van Dyke was not the starter in this game. It was Emory Williams. So in some ways, and this is kind of a funny thing to say out loud, but whenever you play a quarterback that isn't your starting quarterback, there's a degree of mystery to the opposition. And Emory Williams, there's film on him. They'd seen him play before. I promise you there was some prep for him in the week, you would imagine, or you would guess. But there's still less film than someone like Tyler Van Dyke who played the week before. Also, for Miami, good line of scrimmage football team coming in. I mean, I believe they were averaging somewhere around 5 yards a carry, and they were also holding teams to less than 100 yards rushing. So this wasn't just a pushover Miami football team that Florida State was going to have their way with. Offensively, pass game was actually kind of what struggled for Florida State in some ways. Now, it wasn't abysmal, but Jordan Travis, 19 of 31, 265, and a touchdown. You didn't have the same explosivity you've seen from this team at times. Johnny Wilson getting back healthy, Keon Coleman getting back healthy. But even so, what I think was encouraging for Florida State fans, what was encouraging for me as I was assessing Florida State, was where the pass game maybe left something to be desired, the run game stepped up. Hey, Trey Benson now, if he's playing at that level going forward, it's going to be a problem for the rest of college football. He ran the ball for 16 carries, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. The difference for Florida State now between being good and being a college football playoff team starts with that run game. Because when you can run the football the way that Florida State does, I'm not worried about the pass game now. Not worried about it. We got weapons on weapons on weapons, okay? Jaheim Bell's going to get his. Keon Coleman, I said it before, he's the best when the ball is in the air, my ball kind of receiver in America. I feel very confident saying that. I don't worry about the pass game. But being able to take some attention off the pass game, being able to keep that box honest with how you run the rock, that's going to be what makes them dangerous. And that's what's going to make this team a college football playoff contender, to keep it a buck. Now, on top of that, the defense had to battle. Played well enough to win. That box score looks a little bit less appetizing by nature of that kind of fluky last touchdown that Miami got. I say fluky. I don't want to take anything away from Miami, but like that safety coming over the top probably could have made the play on the football. It was just kind of a awkward play that ended up being a touchdown. So no way to sugarcoat it. Missed play, missed opportunity. Is that going to be good enough the rest of the way for Florida State against better offenses? Probably not. But you don't argue with the win. They played well enough and did their job in this game to get it done. Like, I don't think there's too much more to bargain with there. Made the timely play to win the football game, picking off Tyler Van Dyke on that final drive. So Florida State defense, yet again, just doing what's asked of them. Very dependable, like a good neighbor. Florida State defense is there. with some stops for you, with enough to get it done. Now, when we watch Florida State, this is kind of a national narrative. People get frustrated with the lack of dominance from Florida State. You say, hey, they're a top 4 team in the country. Shouldn't they be throttling folks? Hey, Miami, they're not supposed to hang with Florida State. Hey, what is Florida State doing hanging around with some of these teams? Why is Florida State not beating Pitt by more? That's kind of the narrative you're going to hear around with Florida State. Here's what I'm going to say, man. Florida State, they keep telling us who they are. They are a gritty football team. They are more drill than bulldozer. Like a bulldozer just shows up, runs through you, game over, 52-0. I think Florida State has that gear, but I think more consistently, we've seen Florida State be that team that just puts the drill in the ground and they chip away at you for 4 quarters till they strike oil and they get out of there with a dub. Doesn't always look the prettiest, but they get it done. And so I think there's something to be said now for the way they get it done. Doesn't matter with that 0 in the loss column. Like, we can talk about eye test if we want to. If Florida State had a loss on the resume, they don't. Florida State is the epitome of controlling their own destiny. They went out, they have that donut in the loss column, they're going to be a college football playoff team. Period, mic drop, the end. So if you're Mike Norvell on this team, like, I think they embrace that identity. I don't think they're worried about the external noise of, well, they got to win by more, they got to get style points. Like, no, they don't. They don't, I promise you. And Florida State knows they don't. They're content to just play their game, handle business, keep that 0 where it's supposed to be, and let that number to the left of their logo fall where it wants to fall. But when it comes to Selection Sunday, if chalk holds, they will be a college football playoff team. And so this conversation around the eye test and the lack of dominance, and are they fraudulent, like, I guess we'll never know, is the thought I would have from a Florida State fan if I'm within that locker room right now. I guess we'll never know because we're not going to let it matter, is what my attitude would be. So what I think is important with Florida State now is you see the grit, but I think you also see the poise. And the experience within this team makes me feel like they're more of a head down, keep it churning kind of team as opposed to a we win, sigh of relief kind of team. Like, there's a lot of guys in this locker room now that have been around for some times where Florida State has missed the mark and lost games they're supposed to win or what have you. Like, they've been a part of those games where they got to win ugly or they had a close loss. Like, they've tasted that, they felt that. And so I think that experience is going to keep them from having this moment in the spotlight that overwhelms them. I think Jordan Travis will say it again. He deserves more national juice too. He deserves a lot more attention than what he's getting to this point in the year. Continues to will this team forward, continues to find a way to win. And I think he embodies exactly what Florida State football is. Gritty, tough, by any means, does what's asked of him, whether it's his legs one week, his arm one week, making a timely play here or there one week, doesn't matter. Answering the call. And Florida State, once again, answers the call to action in a rivalry spot, beating Miami in Tallahassee, defending home turf, and one win away from, once again, winning the state. So, we'll keep talking about the Noles. Make sure you're subscribed, not just because it helps us, but it helps us do more of the content that you want to see. So if you're dialed in, you're a Noles fan, we see that, so we do more Noles content. Pretty straightforward. Follow me on the socials at JD Piquel, Twitter, and on Instagram to let me know what y'all want to talk about. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.